SteveO is one of the stars of Jackass. He would do the most ridiculous stuff. I remember I watched him like chug a beer in his butt in one of the movies. And then this video popped up on my feed. Obviously, this video popped up on my feed. Why My Voice is So Messed Up by SteveO. So what we're gonna do is we're going to watch this video, and I'm gonna just, I've never seen it before, but I wanna see if what he's saying, how what he's saying, you know, actually corresponds. Yeah, it probably had to do with not eating puke, right? It's my banana. All right. So guys, this is SteveO's video. It's called Why My Voice is So Messed Up.
In your nose, and now we're looking straight down at your throat.
Yeah, dude. I've seen comments on my videos asking what happened to SteveO's voice. And honestly, I always thought that my world record for barfing the most on television might have something to do with it.
Okay, so we know SteveO's voice, right? It's that. It's basically like he has vocal. What it sounds like to me is that he has a ton of nodes and he makes sounds with his false vocal folds. That's what that kind of rasp. But it's like it's both rasp. It's raspiness. Yeah, this is going to be a graphic. It's raspiness, and it's also like false fold usage, which if people have no idea how they're using their voice and they're like, oh, I need to make more sound, I need to make a sound, and then this becomes a habit, they close their false folds because that's where you can most feel the most type of constriction, right? Yeah. So, yeah, so barfing is really bad. There are, you know, the clinical form of barfing that damages your voice is called GERD. It's a type of acid reflux, and it's like, that's basically heartburn that comes up in that. Actually, this is a good topic now that we're talking about. If you eat overly acidic foods, or your body doesn't process acidity well, and you can't do, you know, vocal acidity. Capriani, 1,000 bits. Thank you so much. You can't process acidity properly, so your body basically is like, oh, there's too much acid, we're gonna shoot it up so it's not in our stomach anymore, and it just lands on your vocal cords. That is GERD. That's GERD. So the acid will deteriorate your vocal cords, and you'll end up with some vocal issues. You know, the most common person who's kind of famous on the internet is Corpse Husband. Corpse Husband has a really low voice, and it's a lot, yeah, like hurdy-gurdy. It's exactly how you pronounce it. He has GERD, and it has resulted in his cords becoming very thick, and therefore he has a very low voice. And so it's a real health issue. You know, it's not something that's good for you necessarily, especially in the long run. There's been a lot of connections to like throat cancer and that kind of thing, but it's, you know, it's definitely a rampant health issue, especially in the United States, and a lot of processed foods contribute to GERD. So with that being said, I think there's some sort of damage that has to do with his cords when it comes to like throwing up and stuff. Not just the sound he makes when he's throwing up, but the actual chemical imbalance between the stomach acid and the material that coats the vocal cords, resulting in some big damage. So let's get gross and watch the rest of this video. I was not expecting that.
And it's not too late for the Guinness Book to do the right thing by recognizing that record. But as far as my voice goes, there are multiple theories as to what may have damaged it. So let's look at the earliest known footage of me speaking. From my first skate videos, I Hate Rain.
Yeah, I hate rain, that's what it's called.
And I Hate Pebbles.
I completely hate pebbles. That's what it's called.
He hates rain and pebbles.
I was only 15 in those clips. I had never even shotgunned a beer or ripped a Milky Bottle load, but still I was no opera.
Okay, so
singer.
He was no opera
ripped
singer.
A Milky Bottle load, but still I was no opera singer.
I am completely crazy.
So yeah, so already before he was doing that ridiculous stuff, he was already speaking in a really tense way. And as we discovered last stream, a lot of metal singers utilize that false fold closure to actually depressurize the voice. Whether that's conscious or not, it definitely feels better if you're speaking in a really tense way to add a little bit of that false fold closure that adds some of that grit. that's not coming from the vocal cords. That's coming from the tissue above it coming together and creating that scratchy sound. It actually depressurizes the voice a little bit. So if you're normally speaking in a way that's tense, like how he was when he was earlier, when he played that old clip, you're already hearing that he's using some of that false fold closure to depressurize the voice because it probably just feels better, right? He probably didn't hydrate as much either. You're absolutely right, Cosmic.
But by the time I went off to college, let's just say if they gave you credit for damaging your voice, I might have graduated. But that wasn't in the cards. No. The only time I ever showed up at the library was drunk with my buddies to rappel off of it. Listen as I encourage one of them to do it safely.
Oh, hurry up, dude. The battery's dying, dude. There you go.
Then, after I failed at college in almost every imaginable way, I moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where my lifestyle got a little bit more intense. I got into fire breathing. I also began regularly sampling cocaine and crystal meth. I drank much more, smoked heavily. Perhaps you could hear that in my voice when I was all excited about...
Perhaps. Okay, so there's no doubt, like there is conclusive evidence that smoking, drinking, and fire breathing is actually not the best thing for your voice. And I just want to add in that like everything everything he says is like, well, there may be a correlation between this. No, 100% correlation. No question here. That the way he was speaking when he was 15, plus alcohol and cigarettes and cocaine. You know, cocaine is bad for your voice because the nasal passages just directly fall right onto his cords.
My buddy's head injury.
Wow, dude, there's a rad puddle. Oh, dude.
No.
This is fucking raw, dude.
Oh, get out
God, I
of
was
here.
a fucking maniac. I mean,
think I'm gonna get
chewing
banned
and
from Twitch for
swallowing
this.
glass. That couldn't have been good for my voice.
Actually, it's a video of him eating glass, right? So this is not necessarily the worst thing for his voice because you know, if you swallow something, it's avoiding your vocal tract, right? It will damage your whatever it's called, the esophagus that goes down into the stomach, but it won't damage your actual like larynx because if you swallow something, this is a big misconception, the kind of thing where it's like, oh, drink tea to feel better when you have a sore throat or your voice hurts. Tea goes down your esophagus and goes into your stomach. It doesn't actually go through your voice. What does help the voice is the warmth, which will relax the muscles. It's like putting a warm pad on a sore muscle or something. That's what will actually help you when it comes to, you know, utilizing the things that you eat to help you. It's the temperature, it's the steam that's created. Yeah. Swallowing swords is the same. I mean, it's a similar kind of thing. It doesn't go through your voice. You know, it goes past your voice. The epiglottis separates the voice from the esophagus, which is behind the vocal, you know, the thing that goes into your lungs.
Man, wear t-shirts because otherwise we probably still wearing sleeping more. So
I think I should do it.
Dude, this
Now
is
let's
so
hear the
cringy.
first time I ever spoke on national television on a show called Real TV.
I'm actually more worried about if the camera's filming it right than what I'm up to, really.
Now that Steve's videotape made a big splash on Real TV, maybe he'll give up pool
Eating glass is not good for the voice, but it's not necessarily bad for the voice.
jumping and try something a bit safer.
Of course, after that, Jackass came out, and then I moved out to Los Angeles and got myself an apartment where my smoking was anything but casual.
Do you guys think I'll get banned for this?
By this point, my voice was clearly a thing. I mean, I was so easy to impersonate, people could do...
No, I don't recommend a daily dose of eating glass, but I would necessarily... I would say that that's not necessarily something that will affect your voice poorly. I'm just being honest. It's not good for you. I won't say eating glass is good for you, but it's not going to necessarily be bad for your voice. I've snorted wasabi. Who hasn't snorted wasabi? I feel like that's such a thing you like dare your friends to do in high school.
interviews for
It's the
me.
mature. The stream is
Yeah,
on
dude,
mature.
this is SteveOs from Jackass, and I'm wasted on radio air.
And then, of course, my drug use got totally out of control with cocaine and ketamine and PCP,
Yeah,
which
Lenny,
made my
you're
voice
right.
sound weird.
And I just hit a whole lot of PCP. Yep.
But out of all the drug use, what I thought did the most damage to my voice was the nitrous oxide. God, I did so much of that stuff. I would buy 600 cartridges at a time, and that would only last me like 24 to 36 hours. Sheesh.
What? Do you guys know what nitrous oxide is? It's the stuff they give you in the dentist's office, and it makes you all woozy. Like, obviously, he's doing it for drug purposes, but when you do it like this, so you get some kind of high out of it, and that's definitely not good. So the thing about nitrous oxide is it's a heavy gas, so it's very it's heavier than air. That's why when you speak while you're using it, I think this is gonna show it.
And when all that was
So his voice gets lower because it's nitrous oxide makes your voice lower when you speak acoustically. You sound lower. Your voice is moving slower because it's heavier or whatever. I don't think it's necessarily bad for your voice. Probably doing it as much as he said he did it is bad for your voice. I mean, but it only lowers your voice for as much as in your lungs, and it's not like you would die if you didn't have oxygen. So I don't think it's necessarily. I'm shocked he's not dead too. There's another, unfortunately and very sadly, another performer from Jackass passed away, which was very sad. But I'm glad he's alive. How about that? I'm very glad he's alive. Oxygen is for the weak. Yeah, but nitrous oxide itself, it's definitely not what your body is supposed to be processing through the vocal folds. So that definitely has probably contributed to his voice becoming how it is, getting so damaged.
going on, my family got super worried about my lifestyle, and they were really on my
I would
case.
be, man.
So I told them, I'll go and get the most comprehensive medical checkup possible, and if all my results come back healthy, then off my back. So I did. I went to this UCLA executive health program, and my results came back indicating that I have Barrett's esophagus, which is a legitimately creepy condition, which I...
Okay, so Barrett's esophagus is directly related to GERD, which we mentioned earlier in this little segment.
I need to monitor closely to this day, and in fact, I just had an endoscopy like a couple weeks ago and talked to the doctor about my results.
Your esophagus looks great on these biopsies and brushings.
Wow! So apparently that's got nothing to do with it, and how could it be all the drugs and alcohol?
So again, esophagus, not connected to the voice. So that's a condition you can get from GERD, but it doesn't directly correlate to the status of the voice.
Alcohol when I got sober and started living real healthy, and nothing changed. If anything, my voice got worse. And at one point, I confided in a friend that I felt very insecure about my voice deteriorating and my looks getting worse as I age. And my buddy said, dude, that voice is trademarked. It's you. And I hate to break it to you, but you never got to where you're at because you were a sex symbol.
He's right, though. He's right. Doesn't that align with everything we say on the stream here? Like that is exactly what we talk about. It's like it doesn't matter how quote unquote good your voice is. It's how you use it and what it is in your life, you know? Even if you're a singer, you know, your voice, you could hear SteveOs' voice and be like, that's SteveO in a second, right? It's not about how his voice sounds. He has no reason to be self-conscious because his voice, you hear it and you're like, that's SteveO. That's the guy who goes to the next level to bring you entertainment. Like that's what SteveO's about. That's what we talk about here with all singers too. Thanks, Daniel.
So don't worry about your looks either.
Daniel.
I'm like, all right. But got to a point recently where I just wanted to get to the bottom of it. So I went to a voice doctor. And not just any voice doctor. The voice doctor to the stars. This guy's got plaques in his office from Mariah Carey, Katy Perry, Ozzy Osbourne. It's just a...
Literally all the singers that have like gotten their voice in trouble.
Who's who of the music industry.
What about the shape
I
of his
go in
mouth?
there knowing that I'm gonna see my vocal cords with his scope.
Cool.
Is it gonna be a disaster? Should I be afraid? Oh, and here he goes. He sticks it in my nose, and
the point is not to make your voice unique. I'm excited to see this, but the point is not to make your voice unique by doing things to it. SteveO's not a singer. I would say if any singer is trying to do what SteveO's doing, they probably wouldn't be doing themselves a good service as a singer. But you know, SteveO does what he does because that's his brand. That's who he is as a performer, and that's he's that outrageous lifestyle kind of guy. Now, I'm not condoning what he does, and I don't think it's good for you as a human being, health-wise. But the way it impacts the voice, you know, the thing that's great about singing is that you can't instruct anyone to sing in a way that they're gonna die from, right? What he's doing is not good for the voice, but it's still him. So let's see what these vocal folds look like. Let's do it.
It tells me.
Now we're looking straight down at your throat. You tend to use this tissue above, the muscle above, and
Boom.
you use them to make your sound. And that's why it doesn't have the
False vocal folds. The tissue above the vocal folds called it.
tonality. Now when you relax, though, they're fine.
Okay.
You're not getting what you could out of your vocal cords because you're not using the instrument properly.
Really, Doc? After everything I've been through, you're telling me I just suck at talking.
It would probably take you some time to kind of rework this.
So he referred me to a voice coach, this great guy named Bruce, who I've been working with.
So he has a very high larynx, right? Which contributes to a lot of vocal tension. And even when he was doing that exercise, which is supposed to relax the larynx, you could hear it creeping up. The difference between is when you're doing that who exercise to relax your voice, you should be sounding like ooh, ooh. What SteveOs doing is ooh, ooh. And if he talks that way, it creates a lot of tension. It becomes easier to manage that tension and to not get so sore in your throat if you're using those false folds. Ooh, ooh. So that's how it goes. Yeah, man. Danielle, let me know if you want to work, because we do vocal clinics every Friday. I'm happy to have you on and do anything you want. Yeah, we have a good time. I think there's some people in here who come on regularly, like Charlie666, Lanito comes on, Cosmic comes in. We have a really good time. But yeah, I mean, everything that he's doing, it makes sense. He's never thought about how to use his voice. He's just done it from the beginning, and a lot of us go through life that way, and it's okay.
He's trying to teach me how to speak with my vocal cords instead of my throat muscles and let my voice ride on my breath.
Very often, people ask what happened to SteveOs' voice. So I decided to try to find out and work on improving it.
But I don't even know.
That was awesome. See, that was like him accessing this type of phonation that I've never heard him say. I used to watch Jackass all the way. All the way, like every episode, every movie, all the time. And that's not a SteveO voice I've ever heard. That was like him starting to use head voice, right? And Nati, yeah, Nati is definitely would love to have you. You did great in karaoke last week too. You guys all did great in karaoke last week. That was really fun. But yeah, that is vocal progress. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. You can benefit from learning how to use your voice, just like SteveO.
If I want my voice to change. I kind of like getting recognized over the phone. And my girl darn sure doesn't want it any different.
No, I love your voice. I think it's sexy.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm still going to give it hell because maybe I can use it in a more healthy way. And should we expect big changes? Probably not. But should you be aware of this unbelievable project I made called Gnarly? Definitely. Get ready. This is going to be gnarly.
Oh, man.
Pretty gnarly.
What's up, Jackass, guys?
Are we ready? Yeah.
What's up, Denver?
Okay,
Women
guys.
can paint their boobs.
Okay. So that was SteveO, guys. That was SteveO and how he messed up his voice so much. And I think, from the beginning, you can hear it. You know, like, I'm not special in that I have a trained ear. You know, I've spent most of my life learning how to hear the voice in a certain way. But it was pretty evident that from the start, what he was doing was using his false folds to even out the really unhealthy pressure that he was using in his speaking voice since he was at a young age. Now, people who do that artistically are like metal singers. Remember when we watched Marco singing last week, and we found out that the way he gets up through his vocal passaggio, which is a term that was coined by classical singers, but is a universal topic in all singers, that those transition notes, he used false fold phonation to easily decompress the voice to get through those transition notes. This SteveO is doing the same thing when he speaks. Unreal, dude. Unreal. The voice is, though it's easy to it's small and gets tired easily, the voice is still overall very resilient. You can usually come back from vocal injuries unless they're super, super bad. Dude, I can't believe you missed Charlie's last stream. Who? You know, the big brain singer guy. Big brain? Sounds like he's overcompensating for something. Yeah, probably. But either way, check out the reaction I just sent you. Oh, gnarly, dude. Also, make sure to subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss a single reaction in the future. And if you support him on Patreon, he'll make sure that one of your requests gets guaranteed to be put up on YouTube that month. Dang, these Monday and Wednesday Twitch streams are lit. Yeah, and every Friday, he literally teaches free voice lessons on his Twitch stream through the Big Brain Singer Discord server. Dude, I'm there.